Hello again. It's Mercy Maglino and
Hi, I'm Teresa Paul.
Teresa Paul, and you're on Rebel Minds podcast. Just coaching the headlines, coaching the research, coaching any ways to get us through the world today. And before the call even started, we started talking about, um, getting in touch with your soul, which is slightly different than like your head, of course, is very different, but even different than your heart. They have similarities, but we were saying one symptom that the way our soul wants to speak to us is through pain. And Teresa said you had saw a quote that pain was the portal.
Yes. I was doing some research on it before the call because I knew we were going to talk about just soul integration. And I ran across a doctor who said, pain is actually a portal to expansion of your soul. It's the message, it's the delivery method that your soul uses to really get your attention.
Mm.
We're used to those little soul nudges that say, I was meant for more, or the intuition, turn right here, don't turn left. Well, your pain is a megaphone for that. And it's something that is not working within your physical body that your soul can see. And here in the West, especially what do? We take medicine, we go to doctors, we get addicted to things just to quiet that noise when the message is, sit with that pain and see what it's trying to tell you. And I know
Yeah,
this isn't a message that people like to hear because
no,
pain is not good. But
yeah.
what if it's not good? What if it's actually good?
Yeah, it's funny because yes, we have a physical body that has pain. So we're not pretending it's not there. And what the way I can experience this for the first time was instead of fighting my migraine, I sat with it and went as deep into that pain as possible, and it actually dissipated. And what is this? The migraine has a wonderful message if you suffer from them. It's slow down, get out of some stress, dynamics, be creative. Because when I had a migraine, I would have a cajillion creative thoughts. Because here I am in a room, eyes closed, lights off, no sound, ice on my head, and what is my mind doing? But creating. It's creating all kinds of things if I actually take my focus off the pain. So this is something you might try, um, you know, like in snippets. It's like when you meditate, you don't start with a half hour, you start with 5 minutes, right? It's the same thing here. It's like listening. The pain is telling you something, as Teresa just said. What is it telling you? I don't know. I was just telling Teresa, I have pain in my legs. What does that tell me? I don't know. I have no idea. And I've sat with it a little bit. Um, and I think part of it is, and Teresa will speak to this, is the judgment. I shouldn't have pain in my legs. What am I doing wrong? This is a result of, weight gain and loss, blaming myself. Those things don't get you to the core of it, to the heart of it, to the soul of it.
No, they actually make it worse because they make this pain speak louder,
Mhm.
right? Because we were talking about, you said, I don't want to stop walking. I need to keep walking, but my legs keep hurting. And I said to you, what? Right? That's all in your head. You're
Yeah.
still in your head about it, and the pain isn't speaking to your head. And I find it interesting that migraines, you shed a whole new light on that. Dark room, like total sensory deprivation,
Yes. Yes.
your brain actually isn't working more. You're tapping into the quantum field where
Yeah.
all soul resides, right?
Hmm.
And that's where the answers are. That's where creativity comes from. And
Hmm.
so you are forced to do that and
Hmm.
open up to it because a migraine I've had migraines. They are so debilitating. You cannot do anything. Like
Right.
that's a very loud voice.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty amazing that it takes a migraine for you to lay down for a few minutes and stop
Mhm.
thinking.
Yes. And it's true, like we say about people go into sensory deprivation by choice. They go into these floating tanks or, other different methods to get to that place. And one of the things, the soul connection to everyone. I know this, again, I always say this sounds like, woo woo, but there's so much evidence that
Yeah.
we are connected. I mean, we can't even live without each other for very long anyway. So at every level, when you look at it, and part of what I think is happening in the world now is there's a schism in the soul connection, in the soul integration as a collective community. And the way to bring that together, and it seems to me, is one person at a time, but it has to happen.
Well, and it's the schism you mentioned, I think, is resistance,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because it's unfamiliar, it's resistance. And what you said about, oh, I can't remember what you said, but if you acceptance that things are the way they are, like I'm a big proponent for eliminating guilt and shame
Hmm.
because you did what you did when you did it, move on.
Yeah.
There's no room for that. Accept who you are and the learning that came with it. But we're holding ourselves and other people accountable for things that don't even matter, and that really blocks soul.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm very guilty of that too, because
Oh,
I
cool.
judge people who I think are better than me, are younger than me, are smarter than me. But why?
Mm,
I don't see their whole package. I only
no.
see the shiny parts.
Right.
So,
All parts. Just like,
yeah.
I mean, soul integration is described as a process of bringing these fragmented, hidden, disowned aspects of oneself into wholeness. So, and that takes self-acceptance.
Yes.
Your healing of the of your conscious self takes self-acceptance. No judgment, no shame, no guilt.
Yes. And when you can do that for yourself fully and completely, that's where it doesn't matter what other people say or
Mhm.
do or where they move about you because you accept yourself and it opens up acceptance of others because you cannot fully accept yourself and judge others. Doesn't work that way. And
No.
so that energy that's created moves mountains, will
Mm.
change your life if you can practice it. And the key is to practice it because we're
Yeah.
conditioned to judge and promote separateness. So we
Yeah.
have to practice the unity and that
Mhm.
soul integration. And we can only do that for ourselves.
Right.
Like we cannot do it for other people. We can only do it for ourselves. And so living that way, be the best example of it. Like you said, one person at a time is the best way to do it. Show others the way.
Yeah.
But this idea of bringing the soul, letting the soul speak, right? The soul sees it all. You see a headache, but
Yeah.
you don't equate that to the whole thing. It's like a carburetor in a car. Let's fix the carburetor, but what about the other stuff in the car?
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
here's what happens. My dad was a mechanic and he tells me this happened every time. He'd fix the carburetor and it would work so well that other things would break down because they weren't able to operate at the high level of the new carburetor.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we have to bring it all together. So
Mm.
this headache is meant for your entire being to stop and be quiet so that,
Mhm.
you can expand. We're here all here for expansion. That's our job to
Yeah.
expand.
Yeah. So what role can coaching play? Like if you were leading with a soul integration coach who works on this aspect of wholeness, parts, um, listening to listening and paying attention. I think it's also paying attention. I was just telling Teresa about one of my sisters who had some significant pain for months and of course refused to go to the doctor. She's going to do it herself. And, sure enough, she was diagnosed with something serious. So that's something we do too. We ignore the parts of us that we don't want to be a part of, and we judge them. Like people, when every time people tell me, and this is going to sound bold, oh, it's a shame they died, and I'm like, people die. It's like I I know that sounds cold. Yes, you're going to miss them. And that's really what's going on when you miss somebody, when someone passes away. We actually can't believe it, but it's happens every single minute of every single day. It will happen to all of us. So it's kind of an interesting concept that we almost deny it. Like this shouldn't happen. This is a
Yeah.
shame. This is
Yeah,
a
it
tragedy.
happened too early. Well, if it
Too
happened in
early.
tomorrow or in 2 weeks or in 4 weeks, yeah, we all think we're gonna be the exception to that rule, and there's
Right.
no exception, and I've come to feel that way about death recently too, because, I'm getting to the age where a lot of the actors I grew up with are starting to pass
Yes.
away,
Yeah.
and,
Yes.
and the other day, one of them passed, and I was like, "What a magnificent life he had. What a magnificent life."
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's not this day that he died, but a
No.
magnificent life,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And yeah, and so you talk about coaching to that, and so and you're the structural coaching guru, so I'm gonna leave that piece to you. But for me, I think there are 3 key stages when it comes to soul integration. First is the awareness, right?
Mm,
Awareness of everything about you that you can think of, and if it helps, write it down. So
mm,
there's every piece of you, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your environment, how you feel about other people, how you
mm,
think, everything, awareness. Then comes the acceptance. When you can look at that list and go, this is me, I
mm,
accept that this is me. And then comes the expansion. Here's what I want to take moving forward. And then I'm going to allow other things in so that I can expand into a
mm.
new version until it's time to grow from there. So
Yeah.
tell me, how does that work with like really ICF coaching?
Yeah. Well, you just named a couple of things that are essential in a coaching conversation. Self-awareness. Um, and awareness at what a coach helps is evoke awareness. And evoke isn't like I'm going to tippy toe up to the awareness. Evoke means I'm a guide who's been charged with, you know, sort of contradicting your concept, your judgments, your shame, your guilt, whatever it is, to evoke greater awareness. Um, in some ways, what you just said is what coaches do. They help you notice where you feel out of alignment or fragmented, because that's the lack of wholeness. And we do talk about coaching the whole person, which is kind of interesting, isn't it? It's not
Yeah.
just mind, body, heart. It's the soul represents the whole body, so it includes all those bits. Um, what you care about, parts of you that got suppressed along the way, like you said, because you cared about what somebody else said, and we all have felt like, who am I? I'm lost, and part of that is the influence of those around you, or the way you interpreted that. And like, if you always felt like the person who was left out, for example, well, what was going on there, right? And how far did you take it? But I think we, as guides and coaching, we can help be like in the lab with you as you experiment with this somewhat challenging task to sit in this place of chaos, sometimes pain, and sort of allow. It's almost like you allow the parts to come into harmony. Um, One of the things that makes masterful coaching is the ability to get underneath everything, right? Unlimited beliefs, maybe even where they came from. Understanding that there are only so many underlying beliefs. Nobody's completely unique with any of them. Some are more pronounced than others, but we all have them. And frankly, some of them work for us fine. We don't have to look at them. It's when you're getting stuck. And when that happens, a coach who understands the wholeness of the, you know, maybe it's not going to roll off your tongue the first time, but instead of saying drop into your heart, would it be okay if we just took a minute and I invited you to drop into your soul? And they might say, I don't know what that is. Trust me. just drop into your soul and trust that you're going to be there. And I think sometimes we don't ask that question.
Well, and as we're speaking here, we're talking as if the soul is separate from the physical,
Yeah, not
which
really.
by definition, maybe it is, but but it's not.
Yeah.
It's all one. And so, the physical body is the pleasure, the yumminess of being alive. And the soul is the purpose. Without both of those pieces, you
Mm-hmm.
know, that's when we die. When those two pieces cease to play together, that's when we die. And what we're talking about is the resistance to that union that is causing us distress and pain. That's
Yes.
causing us to not have everything we want in life. You hear people talk about the law of attraction, um, and that is absolutely true. And you have to integrate that with so many other things. It's
Yes.
not about sitting in meditation and wishing for $1 million. It
Yes.
has to integrate into your soul. So if you don't have the $1 million or you don't have the money and you're manifesting from a place of lack, it
Yeah.
doesn't work.
No.
Right? So what we're talking about is dropping into that bigger place that's connected to the whole. I saw a study, and I can't for the life of me remember what it is, but it's all over Facebook right now, that our brains are actually communicating when we don't even know it.
Yeah.
Like our brains are actually communicating without us, our minds participating in it. And
Hmm.
all of that is going on, plus stuff we don't even know about, I bet.
Yeah.
And so the only thing we can do is really pause, right, without a migraine, and feel how it fits together and listen to the answers that we're getting.
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem is we don't listen to the answers, right?
Yeah.
How many people have had an aha moment like, oh my gosh, that's the answer to my problem? 5 minutes later, they're like, but this is a problem, and this is a
Yeah.
problem, and this is a problem, and this is a problem.
Right.
So it's gone. So the
Yeah.
expansive moment is gone.
Yeah.
And coaching gives us a witness. Coaching gives us someone who will challenge our
Mhm.
defenses and challenge our resistance and challenge that
Yeah.
schism in what we're doing
Hmm.
and say, is that really what it is or not? And so,
Yeah.
so I love that because it's really hard to do this work on your own.
Oh
Very,
gosh,
very,
yes.
very hard.
Yeah.
Next to
Yeah. I
impossible.
agree. I agree. And basically it's the work of being human slash spiritual, because on your own you're going to default to to being human. It's safe, it's comfort. But something you said too about, you know, people this is going back way back when someone first coined the words life purpose. You do not create a life purpose. You wait, you listen, it will call to you. And I know that in my Catholic upbringing, do you have a calling? But that's the perfect word for it. I mean, I must have started out on 7 different careers, and each one had its appeal. But it wasn't until I got to coaching that I felt like, oh, this is what it's been all leading up to. And I didn't know, and I really don't know where it goes from here.
Right.
But that felt like a calling. I mean, I had burned out. I was, riddled with stress ailments, and it just called to me. I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't waiting. That kind of patience, it's a receiving energy that us doing people don't generally like. Just the word answer implies there's a problem.
Right. No, and I agree. I agree. And it's funny because some people will get that calling very early in life and they
Yes.
know it and they're not going to step away from it. I wish I was one of those people.
Maybe I'm not.
Because mine has been stair stepped throughout my life.
Yeah.
You're getting there, but you have to go here first and there
Yes.
first and there and next. And so I can feel it. Like I can feel where I'm supposed to be,
Yeah.
but that's like on the other side of the Grand Canyon. I have
Yeah.
to build that bridge to get there. And being okay with that was a huge relief for me.
Right.
Being
Right.
okay with the process of getting there, realizing I'm stubborn and it takes me longer than most people because I think I've got this. Um, and realizing that and just accepting that that's who I am.
Yeah. I mean, I used to love Barbara Shear's book, I Could Do Anything If I Only Knew What It Was. But if you look at everything you've done, there's a thread.
Mm,
And the thread in mine was always helping. It was
yeah.
always about helping.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's behind fixing, because I was also a fixer. But that traveled through being a paralegal, being a teacher, being, a political operative. It was the thread. It was this wanting to have an impact on others.
Mhm. Yes. Yes, and for me, it's, answers. I have answers. I don't have the questions, but I have this intuitive sense that if you bring something to me, I have an answer. Whether you take it or not, that's up to you, whether you're too resistant to it. But for some reason, I am so full of answers. Like people will come to me for every single, and I don't even know what it is or why. And I'm not even tapping into my own energy. I tap into their energy because you know what? You know the answer.
Yes, you
You
always.
just don't want to choose it.
Yeah, yeah,
I help you get there. So that's kind of been the thread through my entire life. And that's
yeah.
why I was so successful in sales because when I got to somebody who had a problem that I could fix, I had the answer. Now,
Mhm.
whether you wanted to pay for it or not, that was up to you, but
Yeah,
it was the answer. And
yeah.
so yeah, I think that's very true. And it's really just this whole conversation, not having this conversation by myself anymore, having the conversation with you has broadened my view of the whole thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I
yeah.
agree. I agree. And I haven't looked up soul integration coaches, but I'm sure somebody out there is onto it. Um, and I like it because sometimes there are people out there, they've had coaches, reached their goals. And then they're in this place of, is that all there is?
Yeah.
They're successful, they reach their goals, they see the power of coaching, but they may think, oh, well, I don't have goals. I don't even know what my goals are anymore. Well, if you're in that place where you've achieved or you feel like you've not achieved anything, soul integration concepts and practices, because there are plenty of activities one can do to just simply sit and be in any kind of discomfort. Learn how not to judge yourself or shame yourself. Oh, that'll take about a lifetime. So you got plenty of time.
Right.
Um, but I think it really takes everything to the highest level.
Well, and I think that if you can come to terms with the fact that you will never get there,
That's right.
right? This is not a destination game. You will never get there because once you get there, you're going to want something else.
Yeah.
And wanting is also a soul integration, right?
Yeah.
If you want something, there's a reason for it. Don't
Mhm.
shame yourself for that. If you
Yeah.
want something that other people think is shameful, that's not your problem. The wanting also is another indication that you need to move in a certain direction. And soul
Right.
integration takes all of these pieces, your pain, your wanting, your desire, that thread that has run through your entire life and
Mhm.
helps you weave it all together for the next step for you.
Yeah.
Because again, there is no final destination. There's no fixing. There's no
No.
reaching a goal and then stopping.
No. No. So maybe this is a place to stop for us. Yeah, this has been great. Thanks, Teresa. And I don't know what we'll be talking about next time. It's a mystery. We always come
Right.
up with it while we're chatting. So stay tuned.
Thank you.